We saw Jack Della Maddalena. You watched him against the Basil Hafez, right? You're a little concerned, right? I watched that fight a bunch of times, and I was very, very concerned because one, very underwhelming performance by Jack Della Maddalena. I think more than anything, let's get that part out of the way. Was that an underwhelming performance on his end, or was he just simply exposed stylistically?
I think it was more on the underwhelming performance. Maybe you're going in there thinking you're going to steamroll the dude. You're not really taking him too seriously. You get in there, he's a little bit more than you thought, a little bit more than you were prepared for mentally. And that's where I think we found JDM kind of trying to find himself, claw himself back into this fight. Because the last two, I mean, I'd even go in the Kevin Holland fight, Derek, that JDM kind of just didn't really seem to find his moments, right? Like he hasn't dominated either of the last two fights he's been in, and now he goes in and faces an absolute powerhouse in Gilbert Burns. We'll see if he also underperforms in this one.
Yeah. No, that's a big point, man. Because when I watched the Kevin Holland fight with JDM, I thought that Kevin Holland won that fight. And I'm gonna pull up the big screen because if you look at the numbers right here, I mean Holland outlanded him, man. But JDM got the split decision nod. So you're coming off of back-to-back split decision fights. You're fighting a guy who I saw this really weird stat, and I didn't even share it. Like I didn't go and look for it. Like I was looking through UFC stats, and I saw that Gilbert Burns. This is gonna be really, really cool. Check this out. So Gilbert Burns, when he fought Jorge Masvidal, when he fought Wonderboy Thompson, and when he fought Mike Davis. In all three of those fights, those are three solid strikers right there. Fair to say, solid strikers. He shot 6 takedowns. He landed 3. He won all 3 of those fights. It was really weird. I was like, why 6 takedowns? That's just your number that you like to hit. Just 6 is the number. If we're looking across his career, 35% takedown accuracy through and through. So my question is this. We know that Gilbert, if he's going to set up his takedown, he's going to set it up with the 1-2 or he's going to set it up with the big right hand. You see it time and time again. He throws a like a crisp, long McGregor-esque rear hand and then drops in for the takedown, which is beautiful, right? But we've also seen Jack Della Maddalena be able to find himself getting out of that position. But if this arm creeps up here, AJ, you see it's jacking up my light. But if that arm, if it goes above his head, night-night, you're getting arm triangled by Gilbert Burns. So that's the big problem that I have because I would bet on Burns all day. And all week I was on Burns until I took one last look at one very important number, AJ. You know what that number was?
Age?
37 years old, Gilbert Burns, man.
Age.
Yes, sir. All right. So I set the table. Take over from here, brother. What are we thinking about JDM? How does he get the job done? And what props do we like, given that he's a minus 125 money line favorite at open? And right now he's swollen to minus 170. What do you think?
Woo, Derek. I was with you, and that I was with Gilbert Burns going into this fight, man. I'm thinking there's no way you're gonna tell me that Gilbert Burns has lost his edge, right? Like he's this guy. He's underrated. A lot of people don't really think he deserves to be at where he's at, or he's done a lot recently. I mean, yeah, he has one loss or he has lost his last fight, but that still doesn't take away from the fact that this dude's an animal. But to your point, man, JDM, Jack Della Maddalena, if he is able to fight for a decision or really maintain things, and I see right here a lot of power going to be exchanged back and forth, kind of that washing machine style of fight. And you just got to be aware of the submissions for Gilbert Burns. But what I like most right here is the decision prop, man, that plus 350, because I think both of these fighters right here are going to be drowning through the mud, right? Trudging through the mud, trying to find their moments against each other, whether it's cage fighting or whether it's actually, scrambles on the ground, getting up, whatever the case is. I expect this to be a very greedy fight that's going to take a lot of energy, and that's where I see the decision coming in. I like that one the most. I don't see a plus 165 TKO coming. I mean, Gilbert Burns is very hard to put away. It's possible, but I mean, it's very, very difficult. If Hamzat couldn't do it, if all the other great fighters he has fought couldn't do it, I mean, I don't necessarily see Jack Della Maddalena being able to put a sneaky, precise counter strike in on Gilbert when he's shooting in, but it is a possibility. I like the decision prop right here.
I'll tell you, man, only guy in the last 10 to put Burns down was his buddy, Kamaru Usman, when he dropped him with the jab, ended up finishing him off, right? Yeah, and Burns is notoriously a very difficult guy to get up out of there, which is why I say if you're unsure and if you don't want to tail either of us on that, you're going to go the prop lock, right? Was that my prop lock? That was one of them right there. It was the over 1.5 rounds for this fight right here, minus 220. That's cash, bro. Like, for me, I'm like, oh, my God, we're smash spot right there. You're going to drop a considerable amount on that prop right there, in my opinion. But again, just give me a shot, man. If Burns shoots 6 takedowns, is he going to land at least 3 of them as he has done against those 3 other notable strikers?
Oh yeah, absolutely, Derek. And I don't know why 6 is number. Like, this is a 3 round fight, right?
This is a 3 round fight. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
maybe
those
two
ones were
two a
two.
round, two a
Yeah.
round. You could be 50% per round. I
Yeah.
see 6, if not more, but I do see him landing at least 50%.
So that's just the concern that we got right there, man, because then you have to look at if he can get him down. We know jujitsu, in terms of Gilbert Burns, this dude is not just like, oh, yeah, I do jujitsu. Like, he competes at legitimate jujitsu tournaments and has had fantastic success in the past before, plus 230 for the submission. Just tell me, is that juice worth squeezing?
Plus 230 for the submission for Gilbert Burns.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think it is. If you're not going to put a full unit, you want to throw some scratch cash on that. I do think it can happen. I mean, we'll see. Maddalena,
Yeah.
has he been put away by submission? I don't have that prop or that number up.
Nah, he's only got what? How many losses for Maddalena? 2 losses, nothing that's come of recent note. I'll look it up while you finish up the conversation.
Yeah, man. No, I do see it happening, but I honestly, to this one, Derek, I really think it's going to be that washing machine, knockdown, drag out style of fight where both of these fighters are gassed at the end. I mean, and not saying they're going to be a poor performance, but just saying they're going to have to give their all to really get there. I don't see a finish happening personally, but hey, if you're feeling lucky, folks, you're feeling a little juice there. Plus 230 for a submission on Gilbert Burns does make sense.
All right, and to go back to answer your question, yes, Della Maddalena has been finished. It was his second professional fight back in 2016, rear naked choke. He has rattled off 16 straight victories since then, majority of those being finishes. So I'll just say this, watch the body work. Della Maddalena is going to beat up the body. If he could beat up Burns, he already has a considerable speed advantage. I think speed kills in this matchup. Bloody Water Podcast consensus pick, Jack Della Maddalena. Again, if you do not want to tail, over 1.5 rounds is your smash spot. Currently listed once again, and I'll show you guys on the screen so that you know that I'm not just making up numbers. Over 1.5 rounds, minus 220. You throw a full unit on that at the least right there. I am smashing that one all day long. All right, folks. And with that being said,